Hello, welcome to Thor Talk, the show all about Marvel's resident god of thunder, where I discuss Thor feats, battles, story arcs, villains, and more. So recently, Screw Attack's show Death Battle pitted Thor up against Wonder Woman in a battle to the death. Wonder Woman won the fight, but Screw Attack's logic and research was less than sound. They missed several major feats, and they misinterpreted a few as well. Now, let's tear it apart on Thor Talk.
I am Thor the Thunderer, son of Odin, prince of Asgard. I am an Avenger, and this world is under my protection.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
The first major mistake is the complete omission of several of Thor's powers, including the anti-force, matter manipulation, invisibility, intangibility, negation of mystical energies, and most importantly, the God Blast. The God Blast is believed by many to be Thor's most powerful attack, and it is capable of killing a hungry Galactus. While forgetting to include a few abilities is acceptable, there is no excuse for forgetting a fighter's strongest attack. The blast is capable of killing immortals, meaning it would likely prove fatal to Diana.
Thor has said Mjolnir is fast enough to reach the edge of the universe in 60 seconds. This means it can travel at least 350 trillion miles per hour, or over 500,000 times the speed of light.
While they did present Mjolnir's speed impressively in this feat, it's not even close to what it actually is. The first mistake they made was saying that Mjolnir reached the farthest reaches of the galaxy in 60 seconds. Mjolnir didn't just reach the farthest reaches, it came back, meaning that it went twice that distance in 60 seconds. The farthest reaches of the Milky Way galaxy from Earth is 441 quadrillion miles, and Mjolnir went twice that, meaning it went 882 quadrillion miles in a minute. Mjolnir traveled that distance in a minute, but Screw Attack says that Mjolnir only went 350 trillion miles per hour. How could Mjolnir have only traveled trillions of miles in 60 minutes when it went several thousand times further than that in 60 seconds? The numbers don't add up at all. Mjolnir actually went 78,912,448,320 times the speed of light, as opposed to Screw Attack's 500,000 times the speed of light.
The Midgard Serpent is massive, capable of wrapping around the entire Earth twice. It stretches nearly 900 miles wide and 50,000 miles long. By comparing it to the largest living snakes, the 550-pound green anaconda, we can estimate the Midgard Serpent weighs about 17 trillion tons.
Hold on, Wiz. I know my snakes, and it looks like that Midgard serpent is actually constricting the Earth. By squeezing prey, a snake can apply pressure 16 times its normal weight. So Thor didn't just lift a really heavy snake, he outmatched 272 trillion tons of force.
Okay, here's a mistake that I actually share with Screw Attack. In my first video, I made this calculation with the false assumption that the Midgard Serpent weighed as much as the Earth. But looking back, I found no proof of that in the comics. The serpent's weight is never made clear, but Screw Attack tried to sound smart by calculating it based on the serpent's size. Here's the problem with that. It's a magic shape-shifting snake. The size of its body has nothing to do with its actual weight. It changes its appearance based on what suits it. One time it took on the shape and size of a house cat, but still weighed the same amount. But even assuming that they were correct in their assumptions, that's not even Thor's greatest feat of strength, as they clearly believe. It's probably when he lifted the weight of 20 planets with one arm in Thor Annual number 9. If we estimate conservatively, he probably lifted about 132 sextillion tons. Now, on to the fight.
But Wonder Woman's shown that she's even more stupid fast in combat over and over again.
such as when she blocked trillions of god shards flying at her from the edges of the universe, most likely faster than any speed Mjolnir was capable of.
Again, they misinterpreted Mjolnir's speed, but they also misinterpreted Thor's fighting speed, as he has been shown to move more than 3 billion times the speed of light when he fought the Phoenix. I did a video on this with other examples of Thor's speed, linked to that in the description below. But the point is that Thor can indeed keep up with Wonder Woman in a fight. While Wonder Woman's speed feats are impressive, there's no real way to measure how fast she's actually going. So there's no way to plausibly say that she's faster than Thor. They could be moving just as fast, she could be moving faster, he could be moving faster. There's no way to know.
But the difference in strength was a different story. In fact, when comparing their Earth and Snake feats, she was 8,000 times stronger than him.
Not even close. The Wonder Woman feat they are referring to is when she helped move the Earth with Superman and Martian Manhunter. They gave her a third of the strength needed to do this, which would mean she was moving about 2.2 quintillion tons. Again, Thor lifted the weight of 20 planets with one arm, which would conservatively be about 132 sextillion tons, meaning that Thor is actually 60,000 times stronger than Wonder Woman. Even this is assuming that Wonder Woman pulled as much as both Superman and Martian Manhunter. Given his past feats of strength, Superman could have easily pulled the Earth all by himself, meaning that for all we know, Wonder Woman lifted 5 pounds. Also, let's not forget that Thor lifted the weight of 20 planets with one arm, meaning he is also capable of doing much more.
Meanwhile, Diana's magic sword could slice at a microscopic level, something Thor couldn't possibly be prepared to defend against.
True, Thor would be harmed by her sword, but it doesn't exactly matter. Thor has gone up against magical blades that are capable of stabbing him all the time, and he's even been stabbed in the heart and been just fine. He doesn't need to survive it, he just has to block it with his unbreakable hammer. He has fought against opponents with swords for thousands of years, and he can never know which ones will hurt him and which ones will not, so he's gotta block all of them, and he does. When he was young and didn't even have his hammer, he fought off the legions of the dead for 80 days straight without rest, many of which had swords. That's a lot of sword blocking. So, would Thor beat Wonder Woman in a fight? Maybe, but that's not the point. The point is that this is not the answer to that. Well, that's all for this episode of Thor Talk. If you want to keep up with Thor Talk and all Thor-related news, follow Thor Talk on Instagram at Thor Talk. You can also keep up with and support Thor Talk by simply subscribing. Once again, I'd like to formally state that all art and video is owned by its respective companies, and I own none of it. With that said, see you next time on Thor Talk, where...
You'll behold in breathless wonder.